And Kasipai, be ready.
12 seconds later.
Cool. So let's begin. Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Robin. I'm the founder of Deed Labs. So I'm a 2x founder. Previously built an edtech startup in India from zero to $1 million in recurring revenues between 2016 to 2020. Exited that in 21. Took a year's gap to learn how to code, and then entered into crypto by end of 2022. And since then, I've been scouting for interesting DeFi problems to solve. And that's where Deed comes in. So starting with the story of Deed. So we all know there are millions of communities that exist on the internet around websites, apps, social media accounts, and so on. Now, the problem is that right now there's no way for these communities to actually participate in the economies of online assets. Now, what I mean by this, so let's take an example of a social asset. Let's say there's a YouTube channel or Twitch channel. Now, every online asset has a certain economy with certain drivers that drive that channel. So in this case, these are ad revenues, which are driven by the quality of content, the engagement, and the kind of brand use that a creator is able to secure. Now, in a Web2 space, most of us who are following that channel, we are just passive consumers of content of that channel. We can't actually make any contribution economically to that channel. But in Web3, the channel owner can incentivize us as community members to actually participate in the process of content designing, where we can share our feedback for the next video. In the process of content production, where we can finance the next live stream and get a share of the revenues. Some of us even may be capable of sharing a new brand deals with the creators for a part of the revenues. Similarly, taking example of game apps. So game developers, they build these games. We are just consumers in Web2 setting. But in Web3, game developers can actually hire testers from our community to test and give feedback on the game's pre-launch. Post-launch, they can use the community for distribution, creating a lot of UGC content, with the right incentivization. So the principle remains the same. Take any online asset, whether it's a SaaS website or a Shopify store, anything. It has a economy, it has a set of users or community built around that, but there's no way this community can participate in that economy. And that's the problem we are trying to solve. Now, moving on. So Deed transforms communities into economic engines of these online assets. The way it works, so Deed is a decentralized application that sits on top of decentralized exchanges on chains. And it works for asset owners, for their communities, and for Web3 traders and liquidity providers. Now, asset owners can launch liquidity pools for their Web2 asset like a YouTube channel on Deed. After that, they can launch deeds or tasks that can be done by community to grow the underlying metrics, let's say views, comments, subscribers, or paying paid customers to the channel. And in return, the community can earn rewards from liquidity pool. Apart from these things, asset owners can launch new kinds of offerings which are currently not possible on Web2 platforms. Like a Twitch streamer can keep a event where anybody can pay a 500 USDC fee to play a game one-on-one in a live stream with him. And if they're able to beat him, they earn a 2x reward from the pool. Now, this kind of economic activity doesn't fall within the policies of Twitch and other Web2 platforms, but these economies can certainly exist on Deed. The community earns rewards for doing these deeds and tasks, and while they are helping to grow the assets they love, the traders get access to the tokens of the hottest communities on internet, and so it's kind of a win-win scenario for all. Now, deep diving into the product flow, so it's pretty easy for asset owners to launch pools. We have a PW app, and for mainnet, we are building an iPhone and a Android application. So within 3 clicks, asset owner can launch a pool by giving a token symbol and the URL of the asset. Once the pool is live, nobody else can duplicate it because the asset was validated while the pool was launched initially. After that, the asset owners can launch deeds, different type of tasks that you can think of to grow your asset. And you can keep different reward structures, whether they are fixed token rewards or there are variable rewards as a percentage of the revenue, from that asset and so on. Now, one big differentiator that Deed has compared to Creator and SoFi apps or the MAME apps is that on Deed, the communities are driving the asset economies. Whereas on Creator apps, if you look at it, the creators are responsible to drive the token economy. And on Deed, the communities are directly involved in growing the underlying Web2 asset. So the communities are directly, intertwined into the asset economy on Deed, and they are active participants of this economy. But on Creator token dApps, you will find these communities are just consumers or customers of those tokens created by the creator. And that's the reason why those economies will die so fast. Coming on to traders and LPs, we have built in certain value capture mechanisms which are very different from those creator dApps. First is that you look at a lot of Web2 assets that are growing fast, the traders are notified of the changes in the underlying metrics, and that's where they come and trade more, and we get better retention rates. This part of thesis we have tested on the testnet app, and it has worked really well, given us a very high retention rate. So this ensures continuous trading activity within the pools. Now, to ensure liquidity within the pools, the second part of value capture mechanism is where the asset owner can actually hire pool managers to manage the growth of their liquidity pools while they work with the community to grow the assets. So here the asset owners are working with community to grow the assets, and that is leading to more trading volumes because the metrics are changing. At the same time, the pool managers are working on driving the liquidity in the pools. So this is how the value is captured. This is a GTM feature, so we are building, and this is where maybe Wings can help us. We are building features to actually integrate trading of tokens within the Web2 space, and all of these assets and community already exist on these platforms. So this is something out there. Coming on to traction, so we launched a testnet app on Solana in May last year and ran it till November. The cap was 300 users based on the airdrop limit we had kept for the token. The results were pretty good. So we got 11 pools created for different types of asset, around $3 million of traded volume. The best metric that we got, and our focus was on the retention, where we saw the retention varying between 45 to 50% month on month, even after 3, 4 months of launch. Uh, Coming on to the GTM and the business model. So the testnet GTM was me physically going out to blockchain events, onboarding users, or sending DMs directly to users and taking iterative feedback while I'm building the product. For mainnet, we are targeting the top 1% asset owners creators on Web2 because they already have millions of community members who can be seated on chain. We're also building features to integrate tokenization and trading within the Web2 platforms. The business model is pretty simple. So we keep a 10 to 20% cut on the trade fee that the pool creators will keep while they're launching the pools on the platform. Deed is the utility token of the app, which can be used for providing liquidity, earning trade fees, giving rewards to the communities, and so things. Quickly moving on. So the tokenomics are standard. 50% supply is for seeding the communities on chain, and the rest is distributed between investors and teams. Already gave you a brief intro about myself. Coming on to the end game. So we are raising a $5 million seed round. Now this is broken in two parts. One is where we do 85% community raise on platforms like Echo, and we're already talking to a couple of people there. The 15% part of this, which is around $750,000 that we are raising from private investors like you. Out of that, we already have a 100K commitment from W3X and are looking for more investors to come in. So the goal of the seed round is to achieve 30 asset economies on chain in the next 12 months with a trading volume of more than $300 million annually and around $50 million of TVL locked. So that's about Deed, and happy to take any feedback or questions in the end. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you very much.